We're talking about how to solve for a variable, and we want to solve equations for a given variable. In this case, we want to solve for the y variable. So we want to get the y variable alone by itself. So we're still going to use GEMDAS, just like we have before. And we always want to start with subtraction when we're solving and work our way back to groups. So we can subtract 2 and subtract 2. Now, the thing that's going to be a little different is we have this variable over here. So we have to pay attention to if we can combine like terms or not. So we have a u, which is a variable, and we have a -2, which is a constant, and we cannot combine those. So we just have to leave it as u minus 2 equals 3y. So as we go down, we just did addition and subtraction. Now we can see on the right side, we have multiplication. So in order to undo multiplication, we use division. So we divide both sides by 3. And then this is going to be the nice part that I think you guys will enjoy. We're going to be done. So u minus 2 divided by 3 is equal to y. We don't have to get a final answer. That's in simplest form. All we have to do is make sure that we set it up correctly. Then we can look at example 2. And again, we're going to do GEMDAS. And we always start with subtraction and work our way to groups. So here we have multiplication. And the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. We divide by 3, and we get u over 3 is equal to y. And at that point, y is by itself, and we can't combine any other things. So that is going to be our final answer. Then we'll do 2 more. We'll do 9 and 10. These ones have a little bit different direction here. 9 says solve for w. So we want to get w by itself. We are still going to use GEMDAS. And as long as we stick to the rules of GEMDAS, we'll be okay. So the first thing says, look for addition and subtraction. We have addition here. So the inverse of addition is subtraction, and I want to subtract these both. So I want to subtract 2L from both sides of the equal sign. Now, why do we subtract 2L? Inverse operations cancels there. So what we're left with on the right side is 2W. Now, on the left side, we have an L variable and we have a capital P variable. So these two are different. We can't combine those, so we just have to write them down separately. So it's just P minus 2L. And then, again, we go back to GEMDAS, and we're looking to get W by itself. We see that we have an operation of multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So I can divide both sides by 2. And at that point, that's all we can do. So then we get the 2's to cancel, equal to capital P minus 2L divided by 2. Yeah, that's why I make the L cursive like that, to try to really illustrate that it's an L and not a 1. Last one says solve for T. So this one, still going to do GEMDAS. We can actually do this one in 1 step, or we can do this in 2 steps. I think it'll be easier to illustrate it in 1, but we can also do it again, or illustrate it in 2 steps. So that's what I'll do first, but I'll also show how to do it in 1 step. So if we look over here, the only operations that we have are multiplication and division. There's no addition and no subtraction. So what we're going to do is we want to get this lowercase p out of the denominator. So inverse of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by p. So the p's cancel. And then we're left with v times p is equal to nrt. Now we want to get t by itself, and because these are multiplied together, we can divide by both variables that are left. So we can divide by n and r at the same time. Now we don't have any like terms over here. These are all different variables, so we just leave it as that, and we get v times p over nr is equal to t, because our n's cancel and our r's cancel, and we're just left with t. So this would be one way to get that final answer. One other way that we can do it in just one step is we could multiply by the reciprocal. So if we had v equals nrt divided by p, we could do this in one step because this is all multiplication and division. So we could multiply by the reciprocal. So what we would multiply by is we put p in the numerator, that cancels the p in the denominator, and then we put n and r in the denominator, and those cancel there. So whatever I do to the right side, I have to do to the left side. And what we end up with is, I'll write it the same way, Vp over nr equals what's left, just the t.